Good morning and welcome to the Killik & Co market update. This week we've had 3 separate votes on Brexit and we're ending the week with no more clarity about what is going to happen. So first of all, Theresa May's deal was voted down once again. We then had a vote on a no-deal Brexit and MPs voted against that, and actually markets did respond quite positively to that. And then last night we had a vote on whether to ask the EU for an extension to the Brexit deadline of March the 29th. MPs voted in favour of that. However, the EU is now saying that it doesn't see the point in a short extension. If we can't agree on a Brexit deal on the moment and the EU is not willing to give us any more concessions, what difference is another few months going to make? The EU is saying that if we want an extension, it's going to have to be for several years in order to allow the UK to completely rethink the entire approach to Brexit. So next week, MPs are going to have another vote on Theresa May's deal, and it really does feel as though they are having to make a choice between May's deal and a delay of several years. So a very, very difficult one indeed, and it's really difficult to know how this one is going to go. So next week we will be keeping a very close eye on the House of Commons. Lots of volatility in the Boeing share price this week following the Ethiopian Airlines crash. Here's a chart showing the Boeing share price over the last year, and as you can see, it has taken quite a fall since that flight crashed. At the moment, we're still unsure as to what exactly caused the crash, and therefore it's difficult for analysts to work out exactly what the financial impact to Boeing will be. For the time being, all Boeing 737 MAX planes have been grounded. That's 350 planes in total, and it's likely that Boeing will have to pay some sort of compensation to the airlines that own those aircraft. Looking at the longer term, it's possible that some airlines could cancel their orders of the Boeing 737 MAX. For example, Garuda Airlines of Indonesia has said that it has 49 planes on order and that it is considering reviewing that order. However, anyone cancelling an order with Boeing really doesn't have that much option over where else to buy planes from. At the moment, Boeing and Airbus have a duopoly over commercial aircraft manufacturing. Airbus has an order backlog of 9 years, 7,000 planes. So anyone cancelling an order with Boeing and moving to Airbus would likely go to the back of that queue and have to wait at least 9 years for a plane. So yes, the situation with Boeing at the moment is a small concern, but because of the lack of choice in the market, it's questionable whether this could impact their long-term order book that significantly. China at the moment is trying to produce its own aircraft. It's currently testing its first plane, but it's unlikely that plane will be in service before the year 2021. So for the time being, the future for Boeing actually doesn't look that negative, but it's a situation we are keeping a close eye on, and we will be watching closely to find out exactly what the cause of the airplane crash was. And there were some fairly interesting comments from Royal Dutch Shell this week, which were given at a conference, and they said that they are aiming to become the world's largest electricity company. And this just gives quite an interesting insight into where the energy industry is heading. At the moment, Shell makes about 65% of its revenues from oil production and refining, 25% from gas, mostly natural gas, which has a much cleaner burn than oil, and then 10% from chemicals and other revenue streams. The company said this week that by the year 2030, it is hoping that their energy mix will consist of 30% oil production and refining, 30% gas, 30% electricity, and still 10% chemicals and other. So just quite an interesting insight into where the energy industry is moving and how companies are moving towards cleaner versions of fuels. Now moving on to the week ahead, we've got a few companies reporting. First off, we've got Antofagasta, the copper mining company. We've then got Chinese internet company Tencent, and then sporting goods company Nike. That's it from us. Have a great weekend and we'll see you next Friday.